we're doing art, I always really like to see you trying your best with your drawing and your painting. Today I'm going to show you a few examples of how to fill in your top of the world picture with the best techniques you can do. So let's start with pencil. When we're colouring in with pencil, we don't just scribble like this, do we? If we're going to scribble like that, it's always good to go back in and build up the colour. Can you see what I'm doing? And you can always change your colour and build up with another colour on top. If it's a corresponding colour, that's a colour that matches. I wouldn't go and put green on top of the red because that wouldn't be very good to look at, would it? And here I'm going to do some yellow on top of the orange. So you can see when we're colouring in, I'm taking my time and I'm colouring in as best as I can. No scribbles. When we use crayon is a really great drawing tool as well. And again, you really need to focus on colouring in the whole section or using the crayon for line work. And you can build up your colours by creating other lines either side. So crayon is also a great tool for drawing. Oil pastel is different to crayon. This is an oil pastel compared to something like this, which is a crayon. So oil pastel work just like crayons, but again, they blend differently. So I'm going to create some oil pastel colours that would work well together. And in this case, these oil pastels are water soluble. Water soluble are really good because they make up when you don't have paint. They work really well. So as you can see, my colours are close to one another. I can blend these colours really nicely with the oil pastels, but I don't see any scribbling on my page, any rough drawing. I see nice fluid lines. Now if I'm going to introduce paint into my work, I make sure I have a small pot of water and a nice fine paintbrush, particularly for on the top of the world artworks. If you have water soluble tools like these oil pastels, you can see how well they blend with the water. My pencil down the bottom was also water soluble, so you can see that blending slightly into paint, which works really well. See how gentle I'm being with my painting, filling in the white. You can't do this with normal pencils, you need watercolour pencils. And finally, if you have access to a watercolour palette, they usually come with little circles of paint. These are really good for filling in larger parts of your artworks. We've used these at school a lot. And again, you don't see me just doing this. That's a good effect sometimes, but generally I like nice smooth lines, smooth painting. And if you have done some crayon work, you could even go over the crayon work with the watercolours because they resist the watercolour. You can see how up here the crayon is resisting the watercolour paint. So there are a couple of good techniques to use on your top of the world picture.